Welcome back, Forgotten Crimes fans. Today, we are delving into the disturbing and chilling case of Jeffrey Dahmer, a serial killer whose gruesome acts shocked the world and left an indelible mark on true crime history. Jeffrey Dahmer, also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal or the Milwaukee Monster, was an American serial killer and sex offender who committed the murder and dismemberment of 17 young men and boys between 1978 and 1991. His crimes involved rape, necrophilia, and cannibalism, earning him a notorious place in the annals of criminal history. Dahmer was born on May 21, 1960, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. From a young age, he exhibited troubling behavior, including a fascination with dead animals. This macabre interest grew as he aged, signaling early warning signs of his later violent tendencies. His parents' turbulent marriage and eventual divorce only exacerbated his feelings of isolation and abandonment, driving him further into his dark obsessions. The first known murder committed by Dahmer occurred shortly after his high school graduation in 1978. His victim was Stephen Hicks, a hitchhiker whom Dahmer lured to his home with the promise of alcohol. After hours of drinking and conversation, Dahmer bludgeoned Hicks with a dumbbell and strangled him. He then dismembered the body, dissolved the flesh in acid, and crushed the bones, scattering them in his backyard. This initial killing set the gruesome pattern that would define his later crimes. For nearly a decade, Dahmer managed to suppress his homicidal urges. However, the darkness within him re-emerged in 1987, leading to the murder of Stephen Twomey. Dahmer claimed to have no memory of the act, suggesting a blackout. Regardless, the aftermath was clear. Twomey's body was dismembered and disposed of in a similar fashion to Hicks. The late 1980s marked a period of increased activity for Dahmer. He lured multiple victims to his apartment, often promising money or companionship. Once there, he drugged them before committing heinous acts of violence. Dahmer's methodical approach involved drilling holes into his victims' skulls and injecting hydrochloric acid or boiling water in a twisted attempt to create a permanent submissive state, an experiment that always ended in death. In 1991, Dahmer's killing spree reached its peak. His apartment became a house of horrors, with body parts stored in various states of preservation and gruesome photographs documenting his crimes. The odor emanating from his residence began to draw the attention of neighbors who repeatedly complained to the police. However, Dahmer's charm and calculated lies often deflected suspicion. One of the most harrowing aspects of Dahmer's case was his encounter with Conric Synthesompphone, a 14-year-old Laotian boy. Dahmer had lured the boy to his apartment, where he drugged and assaulted him. Synthesompphone managed to escape and was found by two women who alerted the authorities. In a tragic turn of events, the police returned the boy to Dahmer. Dahmer convinced them that Synthesompphone was his adult lover. Once the police left, Dahmer proceeded to kill the boy and dismember him. Dahmer's reign of terror finally came to an end on July 22, 1991, when Tracy Edwards, another intended victim, managed to escape and flag down police officers. Edwards led them back to Dahmer's apartment, where they discovered photographs. These were photos of dismembered bodies. A subsequent search revealed a gruesome collection of human remains, including severed heads, hearts, and skeletal fragments. Dahmer was immediately arrested and later confessed to his crimes in detail. During his trial, Dahmer pled guilty but insane to 15 counts of murder. His defense team argued that his actions were the result of a severe mental disorder. However, the jury found him legally sane and responsible for his actions, leading to a sentence of 15 consecutive life terms in prison without the possibility of parole. While incarcerated at the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin, Dahmer expressed remorse for his actions. He sought spiritual redemption and was baptized by a minister, reportedly finding solace in religion. However, his notoriety made him a target within the prison. On November 28, 1994, Dahmer was beaten to death by fellow inmate Christopher Scarver, who later claimed that God had instructed him to carry out the attack. The Jeffrey Dahmer case left a lasting impact on the victims' families, the Milwaukee community, and the broader field of criminal psychology. It sparked debates about the nature of evil, the role of mental illness in criminal behavior, and the failures of the justice system that allowed Dahmer to evade capture for so long. His case also led to increased scrutiny of police procedures and the need for better protection of vulnerable populations. Dahmer's crimes have been the subject of numerous books, documentaries, and films, each attempting to understand the mind of a killer who could commit such heinous acts. His story serves as a grim reminder of the capacity for human cruelty, and the importance of vigilance in preventing such tragedies. In reflecting on Jeffrey Dahmer's life and crimes, it is crucial to remember the victims whose lives were brutally cut short. Their families continue to grapple with the pain and loss inflicted by Dahmer's actions. The story of Jeffrey Dahmer is not just about the macabre details of his killings, but also about the enduring impact on the survivors and the community at large. Dahmer's background and early life provide some insight into the development of his disturbing behaviors. His early fascination with dead animals and dissection hinted at a deep-seated morbid curiosity. This curiosity was coupled with a profound sense of loneliness and alienation, exacerbated by his parents' tumultuous relationship and eventual divorce. These factors likely contributed to Dahmer's inability to form healthy relationships and his turn towards increasingly violent fantasies. Throughout his killing spree, Dahmer exhibited a meticulous and chillingly methodical approach to his crimes. He often targeted vulnerable young men, many of whom were marginalized members of society, including racial minorities and the LGBTQ+ community. Dahmer's ability to lure his victims with promises of money or companionship speaks to his manipulative nature. Once in his control, his victims were subjected to horrific violence. Dahmer sought to create living zombies through crude brain surgeries. These experiments were a grotesque manifestation of his desire for complete control over his victims. Dahmer's capture and trial were a turning point in the public's understanding of the depths of human depravity. The detailed confessions he provided were both horrifying and illuminating. They offered a rare glimpse into the mind of a serial killer. The trial itself was a media spectacle, drawing widespread attention and leading to significant public discourse on the issues of mental health and criminal justice. The legacy of Jeffrey Dahmer's crimes extends beyond the immediate horror of his actions. It has led to important changes in how law enforcement and society at large approach issues of missing persons, mental health, and the treatment of vulnerable populations. The failures that allowed Dahmer to continue his killing spree for so long, including the mishandling of the Connery synthesomp phone incident, have prompted reforms. These reforms aim at preventing similar tragedies in the future. The Jeffrey Dahmer case also highlights the complex nature of criminal pathology and the interplay between environmental and psychological factors in the development of violent behavior. While Dahmer's actions were undoubtedly monstrous, understanding the factors that contributed to his crimes is essential. This understanding is crucial in developing effective prevention and intervention strategies. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Forgotten Crimes. We love diving into the world of true crime, exploring the stories that grip the world, and uncovering the details that make these cases so fascinating. If there's a case you're curious about, or if you have any thoughts to share, let us know. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and remember, the world of crime is as complex as it is captivating.